There is a lot going on in our churches today, and a lot that God is doing. God uses all of us coming together to help get everything done. Today we're going to look at the last task of women's ministry to support the church family. Let's consider the biblical foundation for women's ministry supporting the church. In Acts 2:46-47 we read, "And every day they devoted themselves to meeting together in the temple complex and broke bread from house to house. They ate their food with gladness and simplicity of heart, praising God and having favor with all the people. And every day the Lord added to them those who were being saved." Acts also records incidents of believers meeting in homes which women hosted. For example, Lydia, Mary, the mother of John Mark, and Priscilla were women that hosted house churches. Women in the New Testament supported the church and influenced the fellowship of the church. In 1 Corinthians 12:12-26, we read, "For as the body is one and has many parts, and all the parts of that body, though many, are one body, so also is Christ. For we were all baptized by one Spirit into one body, whether Jew or Greek, whether slave or free. And we were all made to drink of one Spirit. So the body is not one part, but many. If the foot should say, 'Because I'm not a hand, I don't belong to the body,' in spite of this, it still belongs to the body. And if the ear should say, 'Because I'm not an eye, I don't belong to the body,' in spite of this, it still belongs to the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the hearing be? If the whole were an ear, where would the sense of smell? But now God has placed the parts, each one of them, in the body just as He wanted. And if they were all the same part, where would the body be? Now there are many parts, yet one body. So the eye cannot say to the hand, 'I don't need you,' nor again the head to the feet, 'I don't need you.' On the contrary, all the more, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker are necessary, and those parts of the body that we think to be less honorable, we clothe these with greater honor. And our unpresentable parts have a better presentation, but our presentable parts have no need of clothing. Instead, God has put the body together, giving greater honor to the less honorable, so that there would be no division in the body, but that the members would have the same concern for each other. So if one member suffers, all the members suffer with it. If one member is honored, all the members rejoice with it." We see in the Bible that each woman is important and her contribution is vital to the church. How can women's ministry support the church? First, by supporting the pastor. Women can support the pastor with words of encouragement. Women's ministry should support what the pastor is leading the church as a whole to do. Where is his focus in leading the church? That's where women's ministry's focus should be. A pastor's wife needs the support of women's ministry. She may or may not have a passion for women's ministry. Rather than being critical of her, women's ministry should accept her, understand her, and encourage her. Women's ministry should support the church staff. Again, just as in supporting the pastor with words of encouragement, women's ministry should support the church staff with words of encouragement. Additionally, women can offer to help the staff. There are a lot of time-consuming small jobs that women can relieve the church staff of, therefore freeing up the staff to do more important work. Women's ministry can also make the church staff a matter of prayer. Pray for the leaders in your church. Another way women's ministry can support the church is by supporting the church family. Look around for needs in the church family and go after the task of meeting that need. Women's ministry should support the ministries of the church. Be faithful to participate in other ministries in the church. Just because women are involved in women's Bible studies is no reason for women to neglect faithfully attending Sunday school. Women can also be part of the church's greeters team. These are just some examples of how women can support the ministries of the church. Supporting the church calendar is another way to support the church. It is important for women's ministry to plan around a calendar that supports other events for the church at large. In Chapter 3 of our textbook, we looked at 5 functions of the church: evangelism, discipleship, worship, ministry, and fellowship. Women's ministry should support all 5 functions of the church. When women's ministry supports the 5 functions, then women's ministry is helping the church fulfill its mission as a church and is following the commands of Christ. Let's consider 2 more ways women's ministry can support the church. Supporting the church family also means that we find a need and fill it. When we see a need in the church, we should be part of the answer to that need. When there is a problem, we are to be the solution. This is our opportunity to model what a servant looks like. Lastly, we can birth new ministries in the church and let them grow. As new ministries evolve, we must be willing to pass the baton to the appropriate ministry circle and watch with joy what God will do with the ministry that we birth. We have barely scratched the surface in ways that women can support the church family, but I hope this has started the creative juices flowing. What a joy it is not to be a separate ministry, but to be a part of the body of Christ in every conceivable way. We consider it an honor to contribute to the church family by constantly looking for ways to be supportive.